You really think someone like you belongs here?" The words echoed in the silent restaurant as the black waitress froze, a tray trembling in her hands. Across the table, the millionaire's girlfriend smirked, her voice dripping with venom. But what happened next would change everything. In that moment, a secret was exposed, one that could shatter lives and rewrite destinies. Why did a mysterious black card arrive for the waitress the very next morning? And what price did she pay for telling the truth? Stay with me, because this story is about to reveal the cost of courage in a world that still judges by the color of your skin. Jasmine had always believed that hard work could open any door, even if the world sometimes tried to slam them shut. Every morning, she tied her apron, tucked her natural curls beneath her cap, and stepped into the gleaming upscale restaurant where she worked. The regulars barely noticed her, but Jasmine noticed everything. Every forced smile, every whispered comment, every tip that was just a little too small. She dreamed of saving enough to help her younger brother through college, and maybe one day opening her own cafe. But for now, she moved quietly between tables. Her kindness often met with cold indifference, or worse, open suspicion. Still, she kept her head high, determined not to let the world's prejudice define her. That Friday night, the air in the restaurant felt different. A wealthy couple, regulars, but never friendly, took their usual table by the window. The woman's eyes lingered on Jasmine a little too long, her smile sharp as glass. Jasmine sensed trouble, but she couldn't have imagined just how much. Her life was about to change. Because sometimes standing up for what's right means risking everything you've worked for, and Jasmine was about to find out just how high the stakes could be. Jasmine's shift was already running late when the trouble began. The restaurant buzzed with laughter and clinking glasses, but at table 7 the air was icy. The millionaire, Mr. Carter, barely looked up from his phone, but his girlfriend, Vanessa, watched Jasmine with a cold, calculating gaze. Jasmine approached their table, her smile practiced but genuine. "Good evening. Can I get you started with something to drink?" Vanessa didn't answer. Instead, she leaned in close to Mr. Carter, whispering something behind her hand. He barely nodded, distracted. Jasmine waited, pen poised, but Vanessa's eyes flicked over her, dismissive. "We'll have the house red," Vanessa finally said, her tone clipped. "And make sure it's actually cold this time." Jasmine nodded, biting back a sigh. She'd heard that tone before, the one that said, "You're not good enough. You don't belong here." She hurried to the bar, but as she returned with the wine, she caught Vanessa's voice, low and sharp. "I don't know why they let people like her work here. It ruins the atmosphere." Jasmine's hands trembled, but she kept her head high. She set the wine down, careful not to spill a drop. Vanessa barely acknowledged her, but Mr. Carter glanced up, his eyes flickering with something Jasmine couldn't read. Was it embarrassment or just annoyance at the interruption? The night dragged on. Vanessa's comments grew bolder, her laughter louder, as if daring Jasmine to react. She complained about the food, the service, even the music. Each time, Jasmine responded with quiet professionalism, but inside, her anger simmered. Then, as Jasmine cleared their plates, she overheard a conversation that made her blood run cold. "Are you meeting him after this?" Mr. Carter's voice was low, tense. Vanessa rolled her eyes. "Don't be ridiculous. He's just a friend." Jasmine paused, invisible in the shadows. She saw the way Vanessa's phone lit up with messages, the way she smiled at the screen. Mr. Carter's jaw tightened, suspicion clouding his face. Suddenly, Vanessa turned, catching Jasmine's eye. "Is there a problem?" she snapped. Jasmine shook her head, but the damage was done. Vanessa's lips curled into a smirk. "Maybe you should mind your own business. People like you are always looking for trouble." The words stung, but Jasmine refused to back down. She finished her shift in silence, but the injustice gnawed at her. Should she say something? Warn Mr. Carter? Or would speaking up only make things worse? As the restaurant emptied, Jasmine found herself at a crossroads. She could pretend she hadn't heard anything, keep her head down, and hope the night would fade into memory. Or she could risk everything, her job, her safety, her dreams, to do what she knew was right. She took a deep breath, heart pounding. The choice was clear, but the consequences were terrifying. Jasmine stepped into the cool night air, her mind racing. She had no idea that her decision would set off a chain of events that would change her life forever. But as she walked home, one question echoed in her mind. How much is the truth really worth? Jasmine barely slept that night. The weight of Vanessa's words and the look in Mr. Carter's eyes haunted her. By morning, she'd made her decision. She couldn't let another person be hurt by lies, no matter the risk. She arrived at the restaurant early, her hands shaking as she typed out a message to Mr. Carter. She hesitated, her thumb hovering over the send button. What if he didn't believe her? What if Vanessa twisted the story, turning the blame on her? But Jasmine pressed send, her heart pounding. She told him everything she'd overheard, every cruel word, every suspicious glance. She didn't ask for anything, just that he knew the truth. Minutes later, Vanessa stormed into the restaurant, her heels clicking like gunshots on the tile. She marched straight up to Jasmine, her face twisted with rage. "How dare you!" she hissed, loud enough for the staff and early customers to hear. "You think you can ruin my life? You think anyone will believe you over me?" Jasmine stood her ground, her voice trembling but clear. "I just told the truth, that's all." Vanessa's laughter was sharp and cruel. "You're nothing here, just a waitress. No one cares what you say." The room fell silent. Jasmine felt every eye on her, the weight of judgment and fear pressing in. For a moment she wanted to run, to disappear. But then she remembered her brother, her dreams, and every time she'd been told to stay quiet. She met Vanessa's glare, refusing to look away. "Maybe not, but I care, and I won't be silent anymore." Vanessa's face went pale, her confidence cracking. But before she could respond, the restaurant door swung open, and in walked Mr. Carter, holding a sleek black card in his hand. The restaurant seemed to hold its breath as Mr. Carter approached, his expression unreadable. He stopped in front of Jasmine, ignoring Vanessa's desperate attempts to explain. Without a word, he handed Jasmine the black card, a symbol of trust, opportunity, and something more. "I'm sorry for what you've been through," he said quietly, his voice carrying through the silent room. "People like you are the reason this place feels like home. I want you to have this. It's a token of gratitude and a promise that your courage won't go unnoticed." Vanessa's protests faded into the background as Mr. Carter turned away, leaving her to face the consequences of her own actions. Jasmine stood there, the black card trembling in her hand, tears stinging her eyes, not from fear, but from relief and pride. For the first time, she felt seen, not just as a waitress, but as a person who mattered. Word of what happened spread quickly. Some customers offered quiet support. Others looked away, uncomfortable with the truth. But Jasmine's story didn't end at that restaurant. She used the opportunity Mr. Carter gave her to start her own cafe, a place where everyone was welcome, no matter the color of their skin. But the scars of that night lingered. Jasmine knew her story was just one of many. Every day, people face judgment, cruelty, and silence simply because of who they are. The fight for dignity and respect is far from over. So what would you do if you saw injustice unfolding right in front of you? Would you speak up, even if your voice shakes? Or would you look away, hoping someone else will be brave? If Jasmine's story moved you, share it. Start a conversation, because real change begins when we refuse to be silent.